mainstream media is now acknowledging that Tren de Aragua is a gang that was started in Venezuelan prisons and now spreads fear across the United States. Now, I got a question for you guys. If Tren de Aragua was started in a prison, and we have Tren de Aragua popping up all over the United States, when Trump says they're sending their prisoners to the United States, right? How is it that a prison gang is popping up all over the United States if they're not sending prisoners all over the United States? These people are just law-abiding citizens that just decide to, once they get to the United States, join a prison gang? This is what I'm talking about. When it comes to the migrant crisis, Trump actually had ground that he could have stood on in that debate instead of, you know what I'm saying, singing choruses to hit songs.
They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat.
They gotta have a remix with JD Vance on there. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, they gotta have a remix with JD Vance on there. You know what I'm saying? They gotta have a remix with JD Vance. They gotta chop and screw JD Vance. Make up stories. Make up stories. I'll make up a story. Make up a story. Make up a story. Lit. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, that'd be hilarious, man. Hey, if y'all want the remix with JD on there, give me a thumbs up. If y'all don't, give me a thumbs down. We got to get JD up on the remix, man. We got to get JD Vance on the remix. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but as far as that goes, though, you know, I tend to agree that a lot of these people are prisoners. Otherwise, how would there have been enough people to form a prison gang nationwide? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Windows. Yeah, JD Vance would be lit on the remix. I'll make up a story. Make up a story. Make up a story. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cock. They spin it right in, like, you know what I'm saying? It'd be lit. Oh man, that'd be hilarious, man. So now here it says Tren de Aragua gang started in Venezuela's prisons and now spreads fear in the United States. All right. Now, as you guys can see, right, this article was posted here, updated, right, September 24th of 2024. This is a fairly new article. This is a fairly new article. Okay. Former federal agent Wes Tabor says his phone has been lighting up with calls from police departments around the U.S. for advice on how to combat the growing threat from the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Okay. Tabor was in charge of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration office in the Venezuelan capital of Caracas in 2012, when the gang was still new and when Tabor had barely heard of it. Venezuela had long been a major terrorist zone for cocaine smuggled by Colombian guerrillas, with a leftist government that had close ties to some of America's top adversaries, from Iran to Russia. So the homegrown street gang, although a concern to U.S. embassy personnel and their daily movements around Venezuela's dangerous capital, was not considered a major security risk in the United States. Now, let me ask you guys this. Listen, any gang that has any type of political, if I was running the country, or if I ran anything, right, any type of gang that has any type of political rooting, automatically you're a top threat. I'm watching you. I'm automatically watching you. I don't know why the United States, I don't know why it wasn't a serious threat to the United States. You know what I'm saying? Now, more than a decade later, the gang has become a menace, even on American soil, and has exploded into the U.S. presidential campaign amid a spree of kidnappings, extortion, and other crimes throughout the Western Hemisphere tied to a mass exodus of Venezuelan migrants. Now, again, mind you, this is Associated Press. This ain't Fox News. So now let me ask you this. When the Associated Press is saying this, is this missing disinformation? Because again, you know, Fox News is not my favorite news organization, right? But it seems like when Fox News is talking about something like this, it's automatically deemed as mis or disinformation. But again, I got to ask you guys, is this mis or disinformation right here? Is this mis or disinformation? Now, I don't know how safe it is that in American media, if news comes from one news organization, it's automatically deemed as mis or disinformation because of political affiliation. I don't know how safe that is. I think that that's part of post-truth politics. If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, then give me a thumbs down. Now, shout out to Sybil. Sybil says, because the government was sending those prisoners to our black neighborhoods. Now, let's look at the logistics. Because in most logistics, right? Because as we know, logistics is quote unquote transport of a product, right? So most logistics from point A to point B, there's a chain of transportation, right? So if the migrants are getting moved around, we have to look at the logistics, right? So we got to look at the logistics. So what facilitated the movement? One of the things that facilitated the movement is Operation Lone Star. Greg Abbott, right? Sending migrants to particular areas. Now, what areas did Greg Abbott send those people to? Greg Abbott sent those people. There's two ways that we can describe these places. What are the two ways that we can describe these places? What are the two ways that we can describe these places? See, because I'm going somewhere with this. There's a lot of different demographic characteristics that we can use to describe where these migrants have been transported to. DC Precise says sanctuary. Let DNC cities. Gotta ask a question. Now, we're gonna compare this, right? Shout out to Sybil. Sybil says because the government was sending those prisoners to our black neighborhoods. That would be true in most cases, right? Now, DC Precise says sanctuary cities. Now, let me ask you guys this. Are sanctuary cities and black cities synonymous, or are those two different things? Cameron says, quote unquote, black cities because we are guinea pigs. Now, here's the thing. Which one is easier to prove? Which one out of all of these is the easiest to prove? Without using any conspiracy theory, with just looking on paper and showing facts, which one is the easiest to prove? Professor Naji, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, says illegal immigrants are proxy mercenaries. The way they was walking around those Venezuelan, or the way they was walking around those apartment buildings with the AK-47s and all that. I mean, I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, wouldn't disagree with some of them people. You know what I'm saying, with that assessment as far as some of those people go. That TikTok dude was allegedly a military officer. You know what I'm saying? The DNC, and shout out to Sybil. Sybil says two different things, right? Cameron says DNC. I would agree. Now, here's the failures, right? Where is a conservative black enclave? A bunch of black people, you know what I'm saying? Greg Foreman and Officer Tatum and Larry Elder and Rick's, what was his name? Tim Scott and Byron Donald, all living together in a neighborhood in harmony, a black conservative enclave, a model for the rest of us to follow. You know what I'm saying? Right? Where is one of those at? Is there one? Does anybody know of an area, a concentrated black conservative city, municipality? Is there one? Does that exist? Mark Thompson, right? Well, you know, Mark Thompson would have a plantation, right? Right. Shout out to Cameron. Cameron says they live alone, surrounded by white folks. Now, why am I bringing that up? I'm bringing that up because of their failures to build a community, because they failed to build communities, right? We can never judge to see if Greg Abbott would send migrants to the black conservative enclave. That's a failure on black conservative part, right? They failed. They didn't build any type of communities while sitting there criticizing everybody else of building communities and this condition of our communities, right? Our communities are existent. Theirs are non-existent. Non-existent is a supreme failure in comparison to existent. There is no such thing as a black conservative community. Where is it? Where's the physical location of it? What's the population? Who's the police department? Who's the elected representatives? Right? So these people are failures. And they're criticizing and critiquing people about things that they themselves have failed to produce. Right? Now, everybody's not out of the woods yet. They're not out of the woods yet because the monolith has made black American cities and DNC cities synonymous. So they've given somebody like Greg Abbott an out. So Greg Abbott can say, yeah, you know, it's not about color. It's about politics. Now, to understand that it's about color, you would have to understand Greg Abbott and his Texas business policy of working with and encouraging European imported businesses to come in and do business in Texas. But most people don't talk about that. It's not in the algorithm. Nobody cares. It's nothing funny. Nobody gonna laugh and joke the whole damn time, right? But if we talk about the Democrat cities, the sanctuary cities, they're giving him an out. That's not about race. It's about politics. And I don't like these Democrat politicians. Quality control. Quality control. And Biden did indeed say that. It was in a Senate hearing. They run in quality control. Look at this. Let me ask you guys this. What percentage of quote unquote black cities in the United States are blue cities? I need you guys to let me know. What percentage of, as these cities that we call quote unquote black cities, are blue cities? Quality control. They run in quality control on ninjas. 100%. So now, if somebody like Greg Abbott says, I'm only doing this because of politics, at Lysol ratios of 100%, how can anybody separate that and say, no, he's not? Because of the monolith, and in addition to the monolith, because of black conservative failure, black conservative mediocrity, right? Because of all of those factors, privilege of plausible deniability has been given to people like Greg Abbott. Now, here goes my question. Who put a gun to anybody's head and made people give Greg Abbott plausible deniability? Nobody told anybody to be Democrats at Lysol ratios. That's just goofy. If your investment advisor tells you to diversify your portfolio, why would you not diversify your portfolio of communities? I want everybody to seriously think about that. Does that make any sense? Everybody has a problem with Democrats, but 100% of the blue cities are black in population, Democrat in politics. It doesn't have to be like that. So why is it like that? What are the factors that hold those statistics together? What are the factors that make those statistics a reality? We can rule out anybody having a gun to their head, right? So what else? So when it comes to the logistics of these migrants, Greg Abbott is sending them all over the place, right? But the people receiving them are receiving them, as it appears, because of the representation that they put into place. Is that a factual statement or is that a false statement? Is that Manhattan Institute and Heritage Foundation mis or disinformation, or are those the facts? Who put Brandon Johnson in office? Who put Lori Lightfoot in office? Who put Eric Adams in office? Who put these people in office? We see specific people who are sanctuary cities getting these migrants. There's other people that are not. Now, let me ask you guys this question. If Mayor Eric Adams or Lori Lightfoot or any one of these people were in a different state and their state had sanctuary cities, would they be subject to receiving migrants? Now, Mike Johnston and Governor Polis, a lot of them cities in Colorado, Aurora got the most black people in Colorado, but I don't think it's majority black. What's up with Colorado getting the migrants? What's up with the places in Minnesota getting the migrants? Who's voting for those people there? Now, Polis, similar to Biden. Now, look at how people voted for Biden. People don't like being reminded about how they voted for Biden, but they're going to get reminded anyway. Now, do you think that if the same people that voted for Biden, you think they voted for Polis in Colorado? If you guys think that they voted for Polis in Colorado, give me a thumbs up. If y'all don't, then give me a thumbs down. Why people keep voting for these people? Somebody make it make sense. So that's the chain of logistics. There's a receiver. The receiver gets chosen. You can get somebody that's not a receiver, or you can get somebody that's a receiver. The people keep choosing receivers. And then they ask, why is this happening? Shout out to Cameron. Cameron says, the best part is they talk like they have authority on the subject despite the awful results. Yeah. So I want to ask you guys this. Do y'all think that people will change their voting behavior or no? If you ask me, I don't think that the voting behavior is going to change. And one of the reasons I don't think that it's going to change is because there's no proof of change. Because the last polls that came out that showed all of the demographics showed Kamala Harris getting 85% support. She's still getting isopropyl alcohol ratios of support. Shout out to DC Precise. DC Precise says, y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. And them the same people that put Tiffany Henyard in, and she telling them they ought to be ashamed of themselves. That the only thing they should be ashamed of themselves for is putting her in office. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing they should be ashamed of themselves for. Now, we got this. I don't think that people actually want to solve this problem. I truly don't. It's not that difficult. These ain't difficult. If these are the most difficult problems that we'll face in the next 100 years, we got it good. Next 100 years, we got artificial intelligence is going to be competing with humanity. You know what I'm saying? Apophis asteroid, you know what I'm saying, going to pass the Earth's orbit. It's a lot of existential threats. We're in line for the 5th extinction, you know what I'm saying, on the pattern of extinctions of you know what I'm saying, that take place on the planet Earth. A lot of different existential threats facing humanity as a whole, right? Then, you know, there'll be plenty of videos that come up. Well, you know what I'm saying? What does the Apophis asteroid have to do with FBA? You know what I'm saying? It's going to be all over YouTube, right? I don't know. What does it have to do with us? Who knows, right? If dealing with politics is the most difficult thing that we will have to deal with in the next 100 years, man, we got it so good. We're going to have it so good. It should be smooth sailing from here on out. Would you guys agree? If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. If dealing with a problem like this is the most difficult thing that we are tasked with in the next 100 to 150 years, we've got it really good. We've got it really good. You know what I'm saying? I believe that people actually have become comfortable with having this as a backup plan to mediocrity. And so if you ever try your own initiatives and those initiatives fail and you don't get the result that you want to get, you can always fall back on this as to why you're in the position that you're in. And that's one of the reasons why people don't try to make an effort to solve it. It's not hard. I've had to deal with math problems and statistical models and, you know what I'm saying, problems with certain type of data. Way more difficult than this. I don't understand why this seems to be just like such an impossible task, an insurmountable task. The bizarre level of difficulty with this is almost enough. It's not quite enough yet, but it's almost enough to make me explore supernatural and extra scientific explanations for current situations, because it just doesn't make any sense. We got a whole bunch of negative numbers under a square root when it comes to this stuff. It's just bizarre. A lot of erroneous solutions, and it just doesn't make any sense. So now here it says, what sets this group apart is the level of violence, said Tabor, now retired from the DEA. They're aggressive, they're hungry, and they don't know any boundaries because they've been allowed to spread their wings without any confrontation from law enforcement until now. Okay. In July, the Biden administration sanctioned the gang, placing them alongside MS-13 from El Salvador and the mafia-styled Camorra from Italy on a list of transnational criminal organizations, and offering $12 million in reward for the arrest of 3 leaders. Then, this month, Texas Governor Greg Abbott declared TREN DE ARAGUA a Tier 1 threat, directing state police to target the gang and paving the way for stiffer penalties for members. Other states may follow suit. Gang gains notoriety in the United States. Focus on the gang jumped after footage from a security camera surfaced on social media showing up of a group of heavily armed men brazenly entering an apartment in the Denver suburb of Aurora, Colorado. That prompted former President Trump to vow to liberate Aurora from Venezuelans that he, quote unquote, falsely said were taking over the town. Did he say that? shout out to Karen Jones. That would be, if I did that, that would be off code. I can't do that. I can't say that. I can't do that. I get real close to, you know what I'm saying? I get real close to being attacked by, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people out there. You know what I'm saying? Right? I'd be right on the verge of it. But then, you know what I'm saying, it got to get pulled back. Because the critiques is not allowed. Monolith. Critiques are not allowed. Solutions are not allowed. Progress is not allowed. Only what certain people say is allowed. Right? So because I'm pro progress, progress comes with critique. This is how you know that most people don't have jobs, right? Because most companies claim that they have a culture of continuous improvement. And these claims of continuous improvement come with ongoing evaluation, right? Would you guys agree? I mean, many people have heard about these in their work meetings, company meetings or whatever, right? They talk about this, the orientations and all that. We're not allowed to do that, though, because it's off code. No critiques. Nothing negative. Businesses will pay consultants millions of dollars to give them as much critique and negative feedback as they can to improve their processes. That's illegal for us to do amongst ourselves, because it's been said that, quote unquote, it's an indictment on black people, which I don't know how it's an indictment. None of us are law enforcement, so nobody's indicting anybody, right? But again, if you look at the way that these employees, right? DC Precise says employee surveys, right? You know what I'm talking about. These are companies that stay in business for a long time. These are companies that make billions of dollars. These are companies and entities that are doing far better than us, that are doing things that we're not doing. But if we do these things, the ones that control everybody's brains try to coon shame you, try to say that you off code. So what does who really wants what? Look at the people who use the methods that I'm talking about. Look at the people that don't. In a world where facts matter, the answer would be clear. But facts don't matter in the world where males have female brains. You know what I'm saying? If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. And that's the world that we live in. That's the world that we live in. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says police have called the reports exaggerated, but nonetheless acknowledged that it is investigating 10 gang members for involvement in several crimes, including a July homicide. Among them is a Venezuelan who was arrested in another Denver suburb and accused of helping someone else steal a motorcycle and pointing an AR-15 at a tow truck driver who asked him to move behind his car. Imagine how scary that's got to be, getting an AR-15 pointed at you, which where are these people getting these AR-15s? By somebody that doesn't speak English. So you don't know if they understand you or not. Rainbow Nazariah says, don't resist, Rob. Just join TDA. TDA ain't got no room for me, bro. They don't mess with people like me. You know what I'm saying? They're not about to mess with nobody like me. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't really about to. I don't support gangbangers. You know what I'm saying? Whatever type of gangbanger you are, I don't support gangbanging. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says another was suspected of stealing designer Gucci sunglasses in Boulder and has a multi-state criminal record, including carjacking and vehicular assault. Now, how does this dude have so many criminal records? I mean, how does this dude have? How does he have all this on his rap sheet, man? How he got all this on his rap sheet? Elsewhere, from the heartland to major cities like New York and Chicago, the gang has been blamed for sex trafficking, drug smuggling, and police shootings, as well as exploitation of migrants. The size of the gang and the extent to which its actions are coordinated across state lines with leaders believed to be outside the U.S. is unclear. Now, we know all this, right? Because we talked about this on BLR1. But at the time when we talked about it on BLR1, they said that it was mis and disinformation. But now that it's being talked about by the Associated Press, I guess that makes it actual information, I guess. The TREN originated in an infamous prison. The TREN, which means train in Spanish, traces its origin to more than a decade ago to an infamously lawless prison with hardened criminals in the central state of Aragua. It nonetheless has expanded in recent years to more than 8 million desperate Venezuelans fled economic turmoil under President Nicolas Maduro's rule and migrated to other parts of Latin America or the U.S. One of the founders is Hector Guerrero, who was jailed years ago for deleting a police officer, according to Inside Crime, a think tank that monitors organized crime in the Americas. Guerrero, better known by his alias El Nino, Spanish for the boy, later escaped and then was recaptured in 2013. He fled prison again more recently as Venezuela's government tried to reassert control over its prison population and is believed to be residing in Colombia. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he was residing here in the United States. How many of you guys think that he's residing here in the United States? If you guys think that this dude is here in the United States, give me a thumbs up. If y'all don't think that he's here in the United States and you think that he might be somewhere else, then give me a thumbs down. Authorities in countries such as Chile, Peru, and Colombia, all with large populations of Venezuelan migrants, have accused the group of being behind a spree of violence in a region that has long had some of the highest murder rates in the world. Now, we need to look at this. This is from July of 2021. This is from July of 2021. And, they're just not really talking about it all like that. And shout out to everybody that's watching. I really appreciate you guys. If you all have not smashed that like button yet, please do me a favor. Take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not hit the bell, please take a moment, hit that bell. And also, please share this stream to your social media. We got 22 people watching. We got 32 likes. Let's try to get the likes to 50. Authorities in countries such as Chile, Peru, and Colombia, with large populations of Venezuelan migrants, have accused the group of being behind a spree of violence in a region that has had some of the highest murder rates in the world. Now, let me ask y'all this question. Why is it that in this region, why is the murder rate so high? Why is the murder rate so high there? It couldn't possibly be because of the presence of TREN DE ARAGUA. Could it? Couldn't possibly be that. It's got to be something else, right? Republican lawmakers make an issue of the gang. Now there are concerns about its ruthless tactics reaching U.S. shores as members infiltrate the nearly 1 million Venezuelan migrants who have crossed into the United States in recent years. 11 Republicans, led by Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, the vice chair of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, wrote in a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland last week calling for a coordinated strategy from the Biden administration to combat the gang. Now, Kamala Harris likes to brag. Shout out to James Sumler. What's good with it? Kamala Harris likes to brag about prosecuting transnational organizations. Right? How many people have heard Kamala Harris brag about she's been bragging about prosecuting these transnational organizations? Woo! Listen, hey, Mayor Eric Adams is facing a maximum of 45 years in jail. 45 years. That's what Eric Adams is facing. Woo-wee! Oh, man. The administration's weak enforcement of immigration law allows gangs like TREN DE ARAGUA to control and exploit migrants, the letter said. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that. Venezuelan officials expressed bafflement. Meanwhile, back in Venezuela, officials have watched the attention on TREN DE ARAGUA in the United States and have expressed their bafflement. A year ago, President Nicolas Maduro's government claimed that it had dismantled the gang after retaking control of the prison where the group was born. In July, Foreign Minister Yvonne Gill declared TREN DE ARAGUA is a fiction created by the international media. More recently, Diosdado Cabello, a longtime ruling party leader, linked the criminal group back to an alleged plot backed by the United States and opposition to delete Maduro and some of his allies following the July 28th presidential election. Now, what's interesting about this is that, I don't know anything about that theory, but what's interesting about that is that a lot of these quote unquote transnational organizations like Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, right? Hamas, ISIS, MS-13, all of them have a U.S. fingerprint on them. So while I don't have any evidence of, U.S. having anything to do with the construction of TREN DE ARAGUA, we're not going to sit here and act like the United States has never used a political opposition group or a politically based gang to create dissension in other countries. Are we? We're going to act like that hasn't happened? We're going to have to go through the history books. Oh, I forgot these people don't like going through the history books. It's woke. That's right. Never mind. History is woke. I forgot. The United States knows how to carry out destabilization operations, Cabello said Friday when he announced the arrest of several people, including a U.S. citizen, for their alleged roles in the foiled anti-Maduro plan. Why won't they stop them? Now, let me ask y'all this. Is Cabello right? The United States knows how to carry out destabilization operations. What I need everybody to do in the comment section, and shout out to the people that watch on the replay that get to this point here, name some U.S. destabilization operations and the organizations that the United States utilized to destabilize. I'll name you one. The Azov Battalion. What people should do is go back and look at how much money the Obama administration put into the Azov Battalion and why they put that investment into the Azov Battalion.